Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make these cards, you can visit my online store and the link is in the description box below. When you purchase Stampin' Up! Products through me, you can earn free products. Check out my current customer appreciation products on my blog, and the link is listed below in the description. Today, I'd like to share with you my third alternative project using the November 2021 paper pumpkin kit called Gifts Galore. This fun kit created 9 treat boxes, and they have this really fun shape, and there's a box between the front and back pieces. And it was really quick and easy to create. If you'd like to watch me unbox this kit or see any of my other alternative projects, you can click on the playlist in the top right corner. It also included some cellophane bags where you could put in some treats, and then that fits nicely inside that box there. So today I'm sharing with you a fun card idea that uses the full image from the boxes, so the presents, the tree, and the snowman. But I wanted it to be a card that would fit nicely in an envelope. And so I decided to play around with the mini slim line card base size. And so that's the card that I've used today. And what I decided to do was create something where you could decorate both the front and the back of the card. And then the person you send this card to could use this item as a home decor piece for their holiday celebrations. And so I just thought this was a really fun idea. I don't know if I've seen it anywhere else, and so I'm calling it a display card. So let me show you how this works. So you're going to open it up, and this is where you can write a message. There is a little stand here that is attached to the inside of the card. And then when they open the card, you're going to get a full image. And then the display card does stand, and then they can use that on a mantle or a bookshelf as part of their decor piece. So I just thought this was such a fun idea that I wanted to create it in all 3 patterns. So today we're going to be playing around with the snowman pattern. So I'll go ahead and show you what that's going to look like. So again, it's going to open, be blank on the inside, and have that stand. And we'll make that as well today. And then it opens up into this really cute display card. So let's go ahead and get started. So to begin making your card, you're going to need to start by cutting out your card base. Now the mini slimline is not a normal card base size, so I thought I'd go ahead and cut with you from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So to begin, I'm going to cut it at 6 1/4 inches. So that means I have to extend that arm, and I'm cutting along the 11-inch side. So 6 1/4 is right here in this gray area. So I just want to make sure that I line it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Then I'm going to rotate and cut at 6 1/2 inches. And I'm using Pool Party. Then on that 6 1/2 inch side that I've just cut, I'm going to slide it down to 3 1/4, and I'm going to score. And that's going to be my score line right there. Okay, so it can fold nice in half, and this fits nicely in one of those small business envelopes. Maybe like the check size, I think it is. Now, you're gonna have your 2 pieces left over. We are going to be using the skinnier piece here for our stand, so I'm gonna place that off to the side. And then this piece I am using for the some of the decoration. Now you'll notice here that I'm using Poppy Parade in the background. But on my tree, I've used Pool Party. And so what I did is I cut all my card bases first, and then I've swapped the colors. So the present is done in Poppy Parade. So this piece here is where I've cut out this center die cut. And so the poppy or the pool party piece goes on the Mossy Meadow card, and the Poppy Parade piece is what we're going to be using for our card. So I hope that makes sense and is not too confusing as to where I've found that piece of cardstock. And if you're just going to make one card, then you can just use some scraps that you might have laying around. So we're going to do a little stamping on our card base. I want to just create a little bit of interest in the top left corner and the bottom right. I am using Pool Party ink here, but I have recently re-inked it, so I'm going to get some really nice strong colors. Okay, so just keep it somewhere in that top corner. The rest of it's going to be covered up, so we don't need too much. And then down in the bottom. So something like that. So the next thing you're going to do is cut some scalloped rectangles from that extra piece that we just talked about. And I did do 2 so that I can match them up along this score line and create a nice single piece here. So the scalloped rectangles that I'm using come from the Scalloped Contour dies. And it's not the largest die, but it's the next largest is the size. So to make these rectangles match, I'm going to trim off one of the long sides. And I'm going to trim it so I've got my full corner scallop here, and then I'm going to trim it right in the center of the next scallop. Okay, so to do that, I'm lining it up on my paper trimmer, and that cut line, this cut line that I have right here is right in the center of that scallop. It just shifted, so then I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. So then I'm going to have something that looks like this, and I'm going to repeat that on my second one. So then when these two pieces come together, they're going to look like a nice large rectangled scallop, okay? And this line here is going to go right along our crease line there. So to do this, I think it's easiest to have a little bit of liquid adhesive along one edge, and you're going to want to have a ruler nearby. So what I'm going to measure is the top or the edge of my card base to this paper pierced line here. Can you see that? There's a line. That gives me a little bit, it's a little bit easier for me to identify where that line is rather than measure the top of the scallops. Okay, so I think the measurement I need is about 1 1/8 of an inch. And that's just going to tell me that it's in the center of my card base. Just go down just a little bit more. This is why I like using the liquid adhesive, is because I can, there we go. I can move things around just a little bit. Then I want to make sure it goes right up to that score line. Okay. So just like that. Do you see how it goes right up to that score line, almost covering the score line just a little bit? And then the second piece is much easier to add since we just match it right up. And we want those to meet. So go ahead and push it right up to each other so that they meet along that score line there. Whoops, shifted just a little bit. Okay, so now we kind of have our back piece that's going to ground all of our other images. I do have my snowman here. This snowman is just a little bit big for the card. The presents fit nicely as well as does the tree, but the snowman's just a little bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of my snowman. And to do that, I'm going to just line up this straight, there's kind of a straight edge down here. And I'm just lining that up with one of my guides at 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off. And so now he's going to fit nicely on my card. And then I do need to cut him in half. Now when I measure half, it's actually this strange place, and it doesn't really make any sense. And so it's not going to be quite in half. I want my line to go right in the center of these buttons. It's more of a visual half rather than an exact measurement. So you want to make sure that it's nice and straight. So I'm placing the bottom along one of my horizontal guides, so I know it's going to be straight on my card. And then my cutting guide is going right in the center of those buttons. Hold everything down and then cut. And it is a little scary because it doesn't look quite right. But again, it's going to look great when they open up the card and display it. We're going to add this just like we did with our rectangles, with a little bit of liquid glue right along that straight cut. This gives us some opportunities to tuck in some dimensionals as well once we have it in place. So again, this little guy is going to go right on our card and right up to that score line. And I do have him touching the bottom of my card base here. Okay, so when you fold it, you'll see that it goes right to that score line there. And we'll repeat for the second side. Just press it right on up. Make sure that it looks good, that you don't have any gaps. You want to make sure that when it folds flat, you're going to have a nice seamless snowman. So just press it really nicely. Make sure it matches, all those images match together. Another good reason to use liquid adhesive. Okay, so it's going to fold and then open. So fun. I just love this card. Okay, so now we're going to finish decorating the front, and you can do this however you want. I have stamped the striped rectangle image that came in the kit. So this is the stamp set from the kit. And I've stamped it in Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Flirty Flamingo, which is the color of Stamp Spot that came in the kit, and Pool Party. And then I've also stamped the bow, so same stamp set, the bow's right there. In the same colors, I've also included Poppy Parade. And you're just going to create a fun little scene here. I'm going to pull in the original one so I can see how I put the presents together. There we go. I am adding some dimensionals on the back as well, and this is going to help with the depth and just to create a nice image. This is another good reason why we've left this side of the snowman unadhered, so that we can just kind of tuck in some presents in front and behind of the snowman. So I'm going to begin with my Mossy Meadow, and then I'm going to place my Old Olive in front. So my Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. And then to make some smaller presents, I have stamped the same image and then just cut it off as I was fussy cutting it out. These also have dimensionals on the back, and I'm just going to tuck those under the front, and you can't even tell that those presents are cut in half there. So I love that little tip on how you can make large and small presents. And I've added just the Pool Party and the Flirty Flamingo to that area. Then since I've already stamped and fussy cut out my bows, I've just attached a glue dot, and I can add these to the top of my presents. I like switching up the colors so that they kind of all feel like they coordinate together. This one in the center of that horizontal present, and then the Pool Party on the Flirty Flamingo. So super quick and simple, just add a little bit more color and interest to this display card. Then on the front, I've added the greeting. And so I really love the Oh What Fun and the circle shape, and I think the two go really well together. The circle label does come from the kit, so I didn't have to find a punch or something for that. If you have used up all of your circles, you're welcome to find a punch or even use a different shape there if needed. Then I have my rhinestones, and I thought this would be a fun way just to add a little bit of bling to my card. And I've added rhinestones to all three designs. And so I've just placed a large one near the greeting and a couple small ones up above. Maybe another small one down here. Maybe add another one there. I love rhinestones because they're fairly cheap. I mean, you get a whole pack for only $5, I think it is. And so you can use as many as you want on a card just to add that fun bling. Then maybe take a medium one, place it off to the side of the presents, and then add a couple small ones as well. Let's add another one over here, just like that. It feels like I need one more. Let's place it up in the snowflakes. There we go. Okay. So the display part of our card is done. And to make the other cards, you're going to do things very similar to how you add the elements to the center so that they meet together along that score line. Everything's very, very similar. So then for the inside of your card, if you're using a dark card base, this would be the time that you could add some white cardstock inside if you wanted. But we're going to go ahead and do this stand. Now the stand is just to add a little bit of weight to the back and help it in case it becomes a little wobbly there. So this is the 2" by 6 1/4 inch piece that we have left over from when we cut out our card base. And I'm just going to line it up at the 1 inch mark. And so that's going to give me 2 1-inch strips. And then I'm going to trim it down just a little bit to 6 inches. And then I'm going to do some scoring. So I want to score at 5.5 inches. And then 3 inches, which is right in the center. And then I'm going to flip and do 5.5 again, which in essence is just a 1/2 inch. So you can do that however you want. Then I'm just going to go ahead and fold along those score lines so that I create a W. So we got a small and then a nice long and then another small. Then on those little tabs right there, that's where I'm going to add some tear and tape. And the tear and tape does come from the kit. Okay. So to add this to your card base, you're going to take that center score line, and that's going to go right on the inside of the edge of the card. Now, if you wanted to kind of tilt this just a little bit so that you can get a little bit better angle and it touches your card, you can do that as well. So you kind of tilt it down just slightly. Then you can remove the paper from one side and then flip it over and remove the paper backing from the other side. So to add it to the card, I've just closed the card onto it. And then when you open it, it will stand nicely, just like that. So by adding that little bit of tilt, it's going to help give it just a little bit more stability, okay? And if you want to help keep it closed, you could tie this with some of your leftover twine from the kit, or what I did is just added a very small glue dot in the corner. You could also add one up at the top, but that just kind of helps keep the card closed and it really easy to open as well. It doesn't take a lot of effort to just open that card there. Okay, so before I leave, I want to show you what I did with the presents and how I changed it up just a little bit. The background for the scallop is exactly the same, But what I did for the presents is I cut them up individually. So I've just fussy cut around each present, and then I layered them in the center of my green scalloped rectangle and just made sure that they came together along the score line. So you can see that I've placed 2 large presents right up along that score line, and then just popped up another one with some dimensionals. And then for the front of the card, I've done the same thing with the long rectangular presents. One is right up along the score line, one is sitting along the bottom. I left a space for the greeting and did that on a tag, which I thought went really well with kind of the design of the presents. It was a super cute idea. And you can stamp that in any color you want. I chose Pool Party. And then I tucked in a present on the top to kind of give a fun look to that. And then also added some rhinestones around the card. You'll see that there's also some stamping with the snowflakes in the corners as well. And then I've also shown you the tree, but we can talk about it a little bit. Same thing, stamping in the corners. We've got a Pool Party scallop rectangle behind. The tree is cut just right down the center. From the top, there's a center, and then this middle, you can cut it right down the center of that middle bottom piece there. And then just stamped and cut out some presents and tucked them behind the tree, and then did a greeting on a circle in front of the tree. And those are all popped up with dimensionals. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun display card. If you're interested in getting written instructions or see close-up images, you're welcome to visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you'd like to subscribe to get your own paper pumpkin kit, please use the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.